All right. So, hello, good evening. Welcome to Webinar Wednesdays. My name is Nefertiti, and we are trying out a different time just to see if we can get more people on, to see if more people are available. I've been chatting with some of y'all, and I was trying 12 o'clock. And that worked for some people. So I am just trying out different times to see what works. Hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to wait just another minute or two and then we're going to get started. Let me actually plug up my laptop because, yeah, and I was thinking at this time we wouldn't have as many buffering issues. So just let me know if you start to get any choppiness or if you can't hear me, anything like that. So, like I said, my name is Nefertiti. I am a spiritual coach, spiritual teacher, yoga teacher, metaphysician, high priestess. But we are going to talk tonight about karma and what it is, what it isn't. So let's start with hello, hi. Let's start with the definitions of karma, some of the definitions. So the dictionary defines karma as being a part of the Hindu and Buddhist religions, the sum of a person's actions in this life and in previous states of existence, viewed as the deciding factor of their fate in the future. An informal definition, according to Merriam-Webster, is destiny or fate, following as an effect from cause. So I like to think of karma as everything. Karma is everything. It's cause and effect. If I decide to go and get a cup of coffee, that's karma, right? I go and pay for the coffee, and as a result, I have the coffee, I drink it, it assimilates into my body, I get the caffeine, I get the hit. That's karma. Karma is a part of the macrocosm and the microcosm. So I wanted to read to you the law of karma according to Emmanuel's blog. And I really, really like this definition. It says that karma is also called the law of cause and effect, and the law of equilibrium. So balance, right? If we look at tarot cards, the justice card is about karma, balance, right? Also called the law of equilibrium, every action will have its corresponding consequences, whether favorable or unfavorable. It applies to all existent beings. Personal karma operates on the physical, emotional, and mental levels. The only decree of karma, an internal and immutable decree, is absolute harmony in the world of matter as it is in the world of spirit. It is not, therefore, karma that rewards or punishes. That's very important. We're going to talk about that. But it is we who rewards or punishes ourselves according to whether or not we work with, through, and along with our nature and nature itself, abiding by the laws on which that harmony depends. Okay? So again, that further confirms what I said, that karma is everything, right? Karma is something that we in the third dimension have been conditioned to think of as polarity, something that's bad or good. You either have good karma or bad karma. But remember that the law of polarity states that good and bad are just two extremes of the same thing. So we can have good karma, we can have bad karma. It all depends on how we perceive it, right? What we think of as quote unquote good and bad. What karma is not is what a lot of third dimensional people would describe as what goes around comes around. That's a part of it. That's a part of it, right? Because we know that what you send out comes back to you. But this is in the form of energy. So when we hear that what goes around comes around, we think, oh, Okay, for example, if you, this is going to be a horrible example, but if you run over a squirrel with your car, you're going to come back in the next life as a squirrel. You don't know that. None of us knows what's going to happen after this life, right? But that's just kind of energy that surrounds karma and what we have been led to believe. And that's only a small fraction of it. What goes around comes around is truth. There is some truth to that. But remember, all truths are only half truths. So when it comes to karma, think of it as simply cause and effect. If I walk off of the side of a building, I'm going to hit the ground. It doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter how much money I have, what kind of mood I'm in. It doesn't matter, right? That's going to be my karma if I walk off the edge of that building. So when we're thinking of karma, we should also consider that there are other aspects of it, right? Like I just mentioned, what goes around comes around is a part of that. And also whatever we put out into the universe comes back to us. That's a part of that, right? And it could come back to us multiplied, because as we send energy out, because like attracts like, it starts to gain momentum, starts to attract more energy. So, for example, if you have self-worth issues that stemmed from your childhood, I'm talking when you were in your mother's womb, okay? Issues that maybe she went through or people around her went through, or perhaps she struggled when you were younger. And as a result of that, maybe you've got low self-esteem, you've got low self-worth. That could manifest in your life as poverty, or it could manifest in your life as relationships that are out of balance, or maybe you end up with a drug addiction, or perhaps you're just in some sort of energetic situation that keeps you misaligned because of something that occurred when you were very younger, somebody else's karma that you picked up, that you absorbed as a child growing up or as a child in the womb. So that's another example of karma. Karma also implies responsibility, meaning that we have to take responsibility for everything in our life. That doesn't mean that we agree with everything that happens to us. That doesn't mean that we forgive the things that people have done to us, the things that people have put us through. Well, I don't want to say we don't forgive them, but we don't forget about it. We forgive people, but we don't forget what they've put us through, right? And taking responsibility for your life means that you're no longer willing to blame anybody for anything that's going on in your life. That doesn't mean, again, that you excuse people's bad behavior, but you say, I am aware that I'm the one feeling this way. I attracted this experience for whatever reason. It could be my low vibration. We're going to talk about that too. It's not always about, because you're in a low vibrational state that you're attracting certain experiences. You've heard me say this over and over again in videos. Sometimes there are things that we can only learn a certain way. So it's written kind of in our life contract and our Akashic records that will have a specific experience that will be a catalyst for us to change and grow and to evolve. Now, how we perceive that experience will depend on our vibration, but certain things will have to happen in certain ways because other things have happened. That is karma, right? Because it's like a domino effect, because this happened, now this can happen, now this can happen, now this can happen. It's the same thing with manifesting. That's why we don't get everything that we want right away, because certain things have to happen before other things can happen. That's karma too. And I want to just take a second to cleanse the space. I realize I didn't do that. So I'm going to keep talking as I do that, but that's very, very important. Another aspect of karma is focus. Okay. So when it comes to focus, I'm talking about focusing on what it is that you want. A lot of times when we're trying to manifest things, we get into the habit of focusing on what isn't there. And the law of karma, what you put out comes back to you. If you say you want one thing, but you're focused on what you don't have, the lack, then that is what is going to expand. Okay. The law of karma also relates to the present moment. Okay. We cannot go backwards. We can't go forward. We can only create in the now. So if we're worried about anything that we've done in the past, you're really wasting your time. There is a way to transmute that karma if you feel like it's going to have a negative effect on your life. And I'm going to talk about that later on in the video. Patience has a lot to do with it. And I talked about that just a second ago with manifestation, right? Divine timing. The most valuable things that we get in life require patience and persistence, right? That karmic buildup of actions. So we have this big goal, we have this big dream. What action steps are we taking every single day? What are we doing karmically to create that reality? Or what are we doing karmically to sabotage ourselves so that that reality we want always remains just out of reach, just out of reach. You can see it, you know how to get it, you have all the tools, you have all the knowledge, but for whatever reason, when you take action, nothing happens, or you fail, or you only get so far and then you have to start over, or you've got to quit, whatever. That's karma, because a part of that has to do with self-belief too, believing that you deserve what you are working towards, because you can be taking action, but if you don't believe that you're worthy of receiving that good, then it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to be spinning your wheels, because you're never going to allow yourself to receive what you're working for, to reap those karmic rewards that you've been putting energy into. Okay. And the law of creation has a lot to do with karma as well. So if you have children, you've got karma, right? That's a perfect example of cause and effect. Right? That's a perfect example of karma. And growth in and of itself, spiritual growth, professional growth, mental growth, emotional healing and growth is all karmic, right? The actions that we take. Especially with our emotional healing, because it has a connection to our past, right? Typically, we have to heal from something that happened before. And what we're ultimately trying to heal is the karma from that situation, the resulting negative emotional states, if the situation was negative. But remember, we could also have good karma, right? So a perfect example would be you are a doctor because you've gone to school for 12, 14 years. That's karma, cause and effect, right? Now, you could have gone through all of this schooling and be a doctor and be a horrible doctor. That's your personal karma. So you see, karma is very complex. It's not just about what goes around comes around. That's a part of it, but that's not all of it. Another thing that karma speaks to is change, evolution. Everybody evolves, everything evolves. We're all going to evolve, but we get to decide how quickly we're going to evolve based on how we deal with our karma. So that has a lot to do with the lessons that we have to learn in this life, the lessons that we have to learn, or that we've learned in previous lives, that we now are able to live from a place of mastery in this life from. I hope that made sense. So karma, past life karma, we've all heard of that. And some people believe in it, some people don't. I've heard both sides of the argument, and they both seem valid, right? I've heard that we don't accumulate any types of energies from our past life, that when we come into this life, we start with a fresh, clean slate. But then I've heard that it's because we have karma that we are here again. We have karma, so we have to reincarnate to transmute, to heal that karma. So I think it just all depends on what resonates with you. I am more inclined to believe the latter, that we are here and we've had multiple lives and we're going to live forever. And the purpose of it is to learn lessons and to transmute karma. That's just what I believe. That's what resonates with me. So how can we create more good karma in our lives? Right? So we'll talk about the good things and then we'll go into how you can transmute negative karma. So creating good karma in your life comes down to your daily habits, because your habits are what creates your routines, and then your routines create your lifestyle, and then your lifestyle ultimately creates your legacy, right? How people remember you, if you're going to be remembered at all. Some people are going to die and nobody's going to even know they were here. I hope I'm not one of those people, but it is what it is, right? Anyways, one way that you can positively boost your karma is through meditation. We know that meditation is pretty much a spiritual staple, right? I believe that everybody that's on a spiritual journey should have some form of a meditation practice. And there are hundreds of ways to meditate, hundreds. You have to find the way that's right for you. So connect to your spirit team. And when you meditate, what ends up happening is not only do you create more good karma because you're allowing yourself to be in a state of receptivity. That is how you can open yourself up to receive more good energy. But what you're also doing with meditation is clearing karma. So think of a dirty rag that you're dunking in and out of water, trying to get clean. You put it in, you scrub it, and every time you put it in that water, it gets a little bit cleaner. It gets a little bit cleaner. And every single time you are putting that rag in, more and more of that dirt is going into that water. So eventually you pour the water out. I hope that makes sense, but that's kind of what meditation does in regards to karma. Every time you go within, you are given the opportunity to face your subconscious mind and see what's in there, the closet of your subconscious mind, where all the karma exists, where all of the memories of your past life exist. The things that you believe are affecting you now, possibly in a negative way. I mean, a lot of what we experience in this life that we call negative is due to our own karma that we have presently. But as we are discovering, especially in this past year, with Saturn being active in the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, Saturn being the Lord of karma, that we are dealing with past life issues, challenges, ancestral patterns, did I say that right? Ancestral patterns that we are working on clearing. And so meditation is going to always be the first step. I'm going to give you some more practical tips now, like going to bed early, making sure that you're getting rest so that you have that time to get into dream work. A lot of karma's worked out while we're sleeping. There's going to be periods of your spiritual journey where you don't dream at all. And I believe it's because you're being protected from whatever it is you're clearing. I had a little bit of a time period where I was waking up every morning after having a dreamless sleep, feeling like I had been stabbed in the back, like literally like a knife was put in my back. And this went on for months, and I was just like, why am I waking up with this weird pain right in the middle of my back? And I would go into meditation and I would get images of somebody stabbing me in the back. And now I understand that in a past life, I was killed in that way. And that could explain why I've had some back issues and different things that I've had to do in order to correct my posture, like Pilates and yoga and things like that, have been very helpful in clearing that karma. But this is an example of how our higher self, our spirit team, is here to help us. So if you are having periods of time where you're not having any dreams, I believe that it's your higher self protecting you because you're clearing karma from past lives, especially if you wake up with pains in your body. Doing more research too. Anytime you feel like intuitively you're dealing with something that's karmic, whether that's a relationship you're in, a karmic partner, which you have to go through karmic relationships before you meet your divine masculine or divine feminine, because there's certain lessons that you have to learn in order to be in union with that person. Hello. And when you are in a karmic relationship, it's the purpose of it is to bring up all of the core wounding, all of those tender, vulnerable places within yourself that you try to shut off, that you try to protect, so that you can heal and be open and free to connect with your divine counterpart. Because remember that your divine masculine, divine feminine, your twin flame is you. But the soul decided to fragment itself for learning and for clearing karma. So the more and more karma that you clear, i.e., the more you heal yourself through self-love, through other healing modalities such as Reiki, yoga is highly, highly beneficial and recommended for karmic clearing, especially hip poses, hip opening poses. So things like pigeon, butterfly pose, malasana, which is also a low yogic squat, garland pose, goddess pose, triangle pose, any of the warrior poses, crescent pose, straddle splits, front splits, child's pose, puppy pose, cobra pose. I could go on, but these are all great poses to help you to tap into that emotional body, which is where a lot of negative karmic slush exists. Journaling is also great for working through karma, because when you're dealing with what I call karmic release, which is typical of somebody going through a conscious process of healing. And when I say conscious, I mean this person is doing things like Reiki, crystal healing. Maybe they're practicing nutritional therapy. They're doing something to heal themselves. You're going to have karmic release. Use these opportunities for self-exploration. Why do I do these things that I don't want to do? That's a good indicator that you may be involved in a karmic pattern. Relationships, again, is where this shows up big time. So I'm a woman, so I can only speak from my point of view. But before I became awake, aware of karma and karmic partners, I tended to attract a certain type of male into my life, i.e., a narcissistic type of male, because I was an empath. But this, I realized, was a part of my karma, because this is something that I need to heal. And until I heal this part of me, this wounding that needs to not have boundaries, to let people violate, especially men, violate my boundaries in such a way that I begin to lose aspects of myself. I get fragmented. That is my lesson. That's my karmic lesson. And until I get it, I'll keep meeting these types of people, because issues, problems, challenges will keep coming into your life until you get the lesson. That's the whole point of us being here. And so you can look at your life, think about it. Where have you seen the same things occurring over and over again? Good and bad, because karma's not all bad, but we tend to think of the negative aspects when we're talking about patterns and human behavior, right? So in your life, where can you think of the same issue occurring? And we all have them. We all come in with our particular set of karmic lessons. For some of us, it's relationships. For some of us, it's financial. For some of us, we have health issues. Or maybe we have a combination of all of these things. That's fun, right? But ultimately, this is the karma that we have to work through. And again, it could be your karma from past lives, or it could be a part. Thank you. Thank you. It could be a part of your ancestral lineage, things that were passed down. So not only do you get your parents' brown eyes and brown hair and freckled skin, but you also get all of the issues that were passed down from generation to generation, probably. Now, this manifests in different ways for different people, but you can look at families and see where poverty's been passed down, abuse has been passed down, or abundance thinking has been passed down. Growth and personal development has been passed down. This is all karmic. But at the same time, we have to understand, as empaths, as way showers, as light workers, what exactly is our energy and what isn't, because there's different ways of dealing with each of those types of energies, right? When it's our energy, it tends to be something that we really have to work at for a long time, right? We have to heal because it's something that was unconscious. So maybe we've attracted more and more energy. So I lost my train of thought. Hold on. I was reading one of the comments. Okay. Anyways, let's get back to the list. That's why. Okay. So how do we transmute our negative karma? Okay. I'm going to give you 5 practical tips. The first is to go to a past life regression session, have a past life regression session done, because this will give you a lot of information about why you might have certain phobias, for example, or maybe why you're attracted to certain situations or people. It's just going to give you more insight into what you have potentially carried over into this life. And when you have that information, you can make an informed decision as to whether or not these qualities, these energies that have been brought over into this life serve you in a positive way. And if they do, you can keep them and allow them to grow and integrate. If they don't, then you can work on releasing them. And when you do this, you will see so many positive changes occurring in your life, areas of your life that improve that you didn't really know needed improvement, just because a lot of karmic energy is hidden. It's the things that we don't see, especially if it's subconscious. I already mentioned yoga, so that's the second tip. Yoga, hip poses, lower back poses, anything that's going to open up the area of your body from the waist down, because and I love what Carolyn Mace said, that all illness begins below the waist. And when she said illness, she meant mental illness, physical illness, spiritual illness, emotional illness. All of that trauma begins below the waist. So if you're doing yoga poses to move that energy around and move it out and heal it and bring it up, it's going to provide you with information that will be helpful for you. Another way to transmute negative karma is through the violet flame of Saint Germain. And this is used a lot. I actually saw this particular technique used a lot in 2012, 2013, 2014. It's still very, very effective. I think that around that time, we were really starting to learn more about what karma actually is. Here in the West anyway, in Eastern tradition, they've known all along what karma is, but we're starting to really get a grasp of it beyond what goes around comes around. So working with that violet flame energy will help you, if it resonates with you, if you are resonating with the Ascended Master Saint Germain, violet flame energy will help you with all kinds of healing. So definitely do some research. Working with high priestess energies. Now, this again is going to be a personalized thing. Some people like working with deities, some people don't. I do. I will work with particular energies depending on what it is that I'm trying to do in my spiritual life. But working with deities specifically, Isis, Aset, that was her Kemetic name, and Bridget, Kuan Yin. These are going to be divine feminine energies that can help you with karmic release and healing, particularly those wounds that stemmed from childhood. So Isis tends to be, or Aset, she tends to help with wounds that happened, teenage years and younger. So from about 16 and younger, and then you can call on Kuan Yin to help you with your karmic wounds from age 18 and up. And then Saint Germain is just kind of, the violet flame energy is very general. Bridget is a Celtic goddess, and she's a warrior. She helps with the issues that are connected to the home space. So I had a particular time in my life where I was having issues paying my rent for a long time. I just couldn't get it together. I don't know. I was praying. I was doing all of these things. When I started working with Bridget and really trusting that guidance, because a lot of the insights that I was getting when I would work with Bridget didn't make any sense. Like, I can't pay my rent, but you're telling me to go buy a bunch of flowers and to spring clean my house. Like, no, I need cash, right? But you wouldn't believe the miracles that occurred in my life by just following that simple guidance of improving the energy in my home, elevating the vibration in my home, and everything shifted. So take that for what you will, but working with particularly high priestess energies is great for healing karmic wounds. And the final tip I can offer you is to get a past life reading. So a tarot card reading, an oracle card reading on your past life. And you can ask questions, or the reader can ask questions. What do I need to know about anything that occurred in my past life that's affecting me in this life, that's affecting me in this incarnation? And that is a really quick and direct way to get information. When you get the knowledge, the insight, then you can work with it and decide how you want to heal that. And keep in mind that because a lot of negative karma is very deeply rooted, that it's going to take time, but it's almost like, how can I explain this? So we know that time only exists in our 3D reality. We've all heard of spontaneous healings, miraculous healings, where people will go to a particular shaman or energy worker and they're blind, or they have some sort of fatal disease of anything like that. And they go to this healer and all of a sudden they can see, they can walk, they're completely cured. I believe that's a spontaneous, instantaneous karmic release. That's just my belief, because illness, sickness, and I talked about this in a previous webinar Wednesday, that when we are not willing to deal with our emotional wounds, our pain, our suffering, that it manifests in our body as a physical disease. That's karmic, right? So cancer is a disease of resentment. Remember, the heart does not attack us. We attack the heart, essentially, by cutting off the circulation of love and flow, by allowing ourselves to be in situations that are emotionally draining or perhaps toxic. So those are just examples. But remember that karma is a part of our everyday life. And we have an opportunity in each and every moment to decide whether we're going to work on the positive side of the polarity of karma or the negative side. And yes, I believe that a lot of the tragic, horrible experiences that occur in this life are connected to past life. So some of us have even heard that if you have a really good and fruitful and prosperous and abundant life now, that you've had a previous life where you were in destitute or poverty stricken, Maybe you are a really holy, devout, um, just upstanding person. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You're a very good person in this life. Maybe in another life you were not so good. So those are that's another way that karma kind of works itself out. I believe that in order for our souls to truly evolve to fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th dimensions and beyond, that we have to go through a variety of experiences. We have to go through a variety of incarnations, which means that we're going to accumulate a karma, right? It's just a natural consequence of cause and effect. So I don't feel like it's anything that we should make a big deal out of, ultimately, is what I wanted to say in summary for this webinar, is that as long as we are acting with good intention, that we don't have to worry about whether or not we miss the mark or we make a mistake. Even if we do make conscious mistakes, I believe that we're always doing the best that we can with the understanding, awareness, and knowledge that we have. And I believe that karma has a lot to do with the knowledge of free will, true knowledge of free will, that we have a choice in every moment to go left or go right. And each of those choices has consequences. That's karma, right? It has nothing to do with revenge, although it could. It just depends. Because if you are seeking revenge, you personally are sending out negative vibes to somebody else that you perceive has mistreated you or slighted you, then all you're doing is creating a cycle. Now, I do believe in sending energy back to its source if it does not serve you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when somebody mistreats you and you take it upon yourself to return the favor somehow, some way, consciously, because you feel like they deserve it, then you're creating more karma for yourself. And it's hard. Trust me, I understand we don't always succeed. Okay. Even as spiritual beings, we're human and people catch us on bad days. And we're just like, you know what? So be gentle and kind and patient with yourself, but understand that karma works best for those of us that are willing to remain at peace. And understand that no debt in this universe ever goes unpaid. There is a perfect accounting system in this universe, but we have to leave it up to the universe. It's not up to us to decide anybody's fate, even if they have mistreated us. That does not mean that we allow these people to stay in our lives and continue to create this karmic situation for us. But we allow the universe to help us take the higher road and allow that person to keep their energy, because it's their energy. It belongs to them. The minute you decide to get involved in that karmic loop of going back and forth, usually it's a battle that you can't even win anyway. Then all you're doing is accumulating more negative karma that you've got to work out, right? So focus on creating positive karma in your life. Self-love practices, practicing good nutrition is karmic. You are what you eat. I mean, we live in a time right now where there are so many people dying from preventable diseases, preventable and reversible diseases. I'm not even going to go there in this video, but I had to mention it because it's truth. All right. We ultimately, when we're thinking about karma, we should look at the attributes of Saturn. Saturn is the Lord of karma. Saturn rules responsibilities, duties, time, solid structures. Saturn is also about destruction. when it comes together with Pluto, especially. Saturn is about endings, right? So ending karmic cycles. If you have Saturn in your 12th house right now, I think Saturn is a 12th house transit for Aquarius. Yeah, Aquarius, because it's Saturn's in Capricorn, going into Aquarius, then back into Capricorn. So Aquarius are dealing with a lot of karmic issues right now, whether these are good karmic situations or bad, because Saturn rewards hard work, right, as the Lord of karma. But Saturn also will reflect back to you where you have not been following instructions, where you may have built your house upon sand as opposed to the rock. So the best thing that you can do with Saturn is surrender, because Saturn is one of the malefics. Saturn will kick your ass, okay? And it's all love, because Saturn wants to reward you. Saturn wants to reward your hard work, wants you to build solid structures, but Saturn is going to have you deal with your karma first. That's why the 12th house comes before the first house. The 12th house is the clearing. The first house is initiation. So if you're going through that 12th house transit, 12th house, first house transit, you're going to be dealing with possibly some upheavals, major life changes, because Saturn's a 30-year transit. It's a 30-year cycle. So your major new beginnings, major endings. Saturn is the great taskmaster. So again, if you want to learn more about karma, look at Saturn. And if you especially want to learn about how karma is going to affect you personally, see where Saturn is in your natal chart and how it's transiting your astrology at this time, your sun, your moon, and where Saturn is in your natal chart and how it is connecting to where Saturn is transiting currently. Okay. So I hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to look at the comments now and just see if there are any questions. So Terry says we can transfer our negative energy into positive with intention and use it for good. Where you focus, yes, absolutely. That's that, and I mentioned that, where you focus. Now we have to still deal with the karma that we've created, right? Situations still have to play out, but I believe that the more aware we are, we can have these situations play out at a higher octave, from a higher perspective. And the more awake and aware you are, you can see this in your life, especially if you really start to do the work and you know what your karmic issues are, or you have an idea of them and you can see how these things are manifesting in your life. Once you're aware of it and you start to work with that karma and heal it through past life regression, through yoga, violet flame energy, whatever healing modality you choose, you'll start to see that karma play out, but it'll be a little bit different. It won't be as harsh. It won't be as severe, because you've become more aware, i.e. you've got the lesson. And that's the ultimate goal of all of this, is to get the lessons, right? Master your energy, master your life. Absolutely. Absolutely. You must know yourself. And knowing yourself is a journey. It's not a destination. It is a journey, because we are always evolving, always shifting, always changing. So you should constantly be on a journey of self-exploration. And I think, I know at different times in your life, you're going to be attracted to different healing modalities depending on where you are and where your energy is. But always continue to be open to learning and accepting yourself as you are. Because again, if you are dealing with karmic issues and you get to a point where you understand, oh, this is why this is occurring in my life over and over again. Now I know. So help me, angels and guides. Help me, spirit team. What can I do to heal this? What direction can I take to deal with this karma? And again, we're all dealing with this right now with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. Definitely 2018, 2019 were very karmic times for people. We're starting to definitely see that in the collective too, as more and more people are starting to wake up. But because we have such a large amount of energy here right now for evolution, for ascension, people are waking up very rapidly, and they're having to deal with their karma quickly. And it could be very uncomfortable and unsettling for them. But that's where we come in, because we've gone through some of this stuff. We've done the work. So we have an idea of how we and other people can transmute this with the help of our spirit team. But allow these people to come to you for help. We don't go and try to recruit people or tell people they're doing it wrong, because nobody's ever doing it wrong. We're all doing the best that we can. And the best thing that we can do is live by example and let people see the changes in us. All right. So if there are no more questions for tonight or comments, I'm going to sign off here. And please let me know if this time worked for you. I'm going to try some different times, but I think I'm going to stick with 8 o'clock. For now, just to see if we can build up some momentum. But I appreciate everybody that was able to tune in. And if you like this content, if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and donate if you like. Just a couple of announcements. My website will finally be up this week. I had it up and then I took it down because Spirit was like, I want you to make a few more changes. That's been a journey. I won't bore you with the details, but I will be starting to take readings again starting next week, because I'm done with the project that I'm launching that I'm really excited about. I'm tying up the loose ends. So again, thank you so much for your love and support. And I look forward to speaking to you again really soon. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.